Hi, I'm Dr. Lissa Rankin, and I want to talk today about being in a relationship with somebody who really struggles to repair. You know the people that I'm talking about. They're kind of like you're all in or you're all out. They think you're wonderful, they idealize you, they put you on a pedestal. You can do no wrong. They think you're the greatest person they've ever met. And then you have the normal kinds of ruptures that happen in relationships, and then all of a sudden you're all out. You're the worst person ever. They never want to speak to you again. They're trying to ghost you. Or if you approach them and say, like, what happened? They don't want to talk about it. And there's no middle ground. So I want to talk about what to do about that. Many of us did not grow up in households where we had relational repair modeled for us. And so we don't realize that, like, humans are imperfect. We are all, every single one of us, going to screw up in relationships from time to time. And it's not about whether we're perfect. It's not about whether we always get it right. It's so much about how good we can get at repair. So, what does it mean to be good at repair? Well, several things are absolutely essential in order to be good at repair. One is if you're upset with somebody, you have to say something. You can't just stuff it and be conflict avoidant and expect them to somehow read your mind and understand that whatever you've done, um, that they are able to somehow intuit that they have upset you. Maybe all they know is they're suddenly getting the silent treatment and they don't know why. So if you are upset about something, it is your responsibility to say something. And if somebody is acting weird, it is also your responsibility to say, hey, are you okay? Let's do a check in. Have I done anything that's upset you, to initiate these conversations? Now, some people will not be honest. You might say, have I done anything to upset you? And they will say, no, we're fine, we're good, everything's great. And then they're still kind of keeping their distance because they're putting up walls instead of boundaries. They maybe don't know how to communicate. So instead, you're just discerning from their actions that something's wrong. But what about the other side? Like, what if you are the one that is upset? Are you able to register a protest and speak up and say, this is upsetting for me. This crossed my boundaries. I felt like what you did was not okay, or here's the feeling that I'm having about what happened. And the best way to kind of get a useful repair is to use I statements to talk about my feelings, the impact on me, basing it on the clarity of a particular specific example, ideally. Maybe it's a pattern, maybe it's happened 10 times, but at least give one or two or three specific examples of the pattern that you might be upset about. And ideally, you're going to do it as soon as possible, because if you bring up something from 3 years ago, people don't even remember. So, one of my friends taught me this in one of the best ways. She just, whenever I did something that would hurt her, she'd go, ow, ouch, that hurt. I'm not sure why. Hang on. And she'd go inside and check with herself and be like, oh man, whenever I tell you a story like this, you are always one upping my story. Like, you always have a better example of the thing that I'm talking about. And it makes me feel like you're not listening to me, or like you think you're better than me, or like my story doesn't matter. And she was totally right. I did not mean to. I was not intending to one up her. I was thinking I'm bonding with her by saying, yeah, me too. I have a similar experience. But she was absolutely right in that whenever she's telling me a story, she's being centered. I need to focus on her and mirror and witness and validate her. And it's not the time for me to tell my story. If I want to share my story later, that's fine, at a separate time when it's not, when she's not the center of the story. So I love that, because then if you're a healthy person and you feel normal remorse when you've upset somebody you care about, you can instantly kind of fess up to what you've done. The key is not to be defensive. The minute you go into, well, I didn't mean to, I wasn't trying to, what you said is not true, you're being overly sensitive, I don't agree with you on that story, blah, 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 blah. It does not matter. If what you're looking for is repair, your focus needs to be on the person who's upset, listening to them, mirroring them, witnessing them, validating them. And if you can't 100% validate them, validate what they can, at least validate their feelings, and show care, show remorse, show regret, show humility. And if you do, usually people will soften fairly quickly if they can see that you are listening, you are centering them, you are paying attention, you're not being defensive. And worst of all, do not blame shift. This is not the time to point the finger at the other person saying, well, you this and you that. If you have a beef with somebody and you haven't been saying anything about it, this is something for another conversation. If somebody that you care about is upset in that moment of attempted repair, the upset person gets the talking stick. You get to be the one who is upset, and the person who has upset you needs to be the one who is listening and mirroring and witnessing and validating and empathizing. And if you get to the point where that's gone well, then you can shift the talking stick. And if there's any explanation or sort of excuses or defensive parts that want to speak, then later is the time to do that. Ideally, in my opinion, if you want to do that, do it the next day. Focus on the repair in the moment and let those other defensive parts speak at a different time. And if you've been not speaking up about things that are upsetting you, again, when someone else is upset, that is not the time to bring it up. Bracket that for later, put a pin in it, make a mental note to bring it up some other time, and ask someone, is this a good time now? We had that conversation about the thing that was upsetting you. Do you feel complete around that? Because if so, I would like to talk about something that's been upsetting me. Would you give me 10 minutes of empathic listening? Are you resourced right now to hold space to listen to my story and show me that you get it the way I just modeled it for you? So these are the kind of things that we work on in much detail in the internal family systems informed relational skill building program about relational recovery called Love School that I run with other guest teachers as well. Please join us there. You can find it at lissarankin.com, LISSARANKIN. And if this has been helpful to you, subscribe to my YouTube channel, pass it along to anybody that you think might benefit from it, and leave me comments. I am trying to read the comments, so I'd love to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much.